Hey people, how's it going? So this is like an addendum part to my building tutorial for ocean platforms. So yeah, I recently put up the third part of my building tutorial for this whole octagonal build, my favorite build. And I did some experimentation on ocean platforms to see if you could put it down on there, and it does fit almost, kinda, with a couple of minor differences. So one of them you'll notice is that the top story is missing. You can't build that high on an ocean platform. Apparently, there's a limit. It looks like it's about 16 walls high, or 16 and a half. So I can't put a ceiling one wall higher than I already have it. It won't go that high. You can't even put vaulted ceilings up to that height. So what I did is I basically took the top level and just paved it with stone, put a railing around the whole thing, and got rid of the stairs going up, and I shortcut that edge over there near the industrial forge. So there's also one other important difference on this, and that's supporting the diagonal behemoth gates and some of the diagonal edges of the internal shelves. Yeah, everything else is pretty much the same, so refer to the normal videos, the normal 3 parts that I have for all the rest of the steps. The only differences here on the ocean platform is I basically paved the entire bottom level. I plopped down the ocean platform, paved the entire bottom level, and put a railing right around the edge. You can't really support anything beyond the edge, so that's the starting point. And then what you need to do is you need to put down your pieces that you snapped your behemoth gates onto. So that's what we'll get in here too right now. And there's 2 angles that we got to deal with. There's the diagonal angled ones and the right angled ones that are just part of ceilings. And the diagonal ones here, these are the tricky ones. So you'll see the same steps like I did in the other one, where I go out 8 from the middle, and then it gets different. And I'm going to still hide these under the floor like I did before, because I don't want these to be visible. If you don't care if they're visible, it makes this a lot easier, but I don't like the look of them, anymore. I actually have these on my bases on official, at least this part here, the part that's already at 8 from the center. These are visible, but I've improved the build for this tutorial, so I'll show you how to do it nice and clean, where you hide all these. So I went out 8 and then I went out 4. And so now instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them underneath. So I've put that underneath where the ceilings would normally go, and it's connected to the structure itself, so it stays. Now I put a pillar right here. You snap it to the side of it. That's a Finn's foundation snap. Now you see it's gone. You can actually carry it down below. And that's what I want right there. You see, I've carried one down below. It's still attached to the structure, so it stays. It's at a 45-degree angle, and that ceiling will be just below the normal ceiling level of the rest of the structure. And that's perfect. That's exactly what I want. So in order to support the the behemoth gate, I have to carry this support over from the edge here. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I go 2 walls down, and then I can put a ceiling on top of the lower wall on the edge like that. So that lets me carry that over. After you've put these ceilings in, you can take that bottom wall off. You don't need to leave it down there. So now I've managed to get down here underneath. This is where I can put a fence foundation. These aren't necessary anymore. These were just to get the right distance. So now I'm out here. I can put a fence foundation on the edge, and this will stay down here underneath the floor, and this is that weird behemoth, the behemoth gate situation I was talking about. Hold on, I'll talk about that in a second. So now I've put one extra ceiling over here, a diagonal ceiling, so I can put a fence foundation on that edge, which is right there, and flip it the right way, and test it with the tall wall, and that's the right way. That's the way I want it. So now I can cover the rest of this up. And so that one snap point down there below the floor, the way behemoth gates work is they try to snap to a fence foundation like that in the middle, if it's available, and it'll count as being snapped to that, but it'll actually sit on the next highest piece of floor or ground. So that's why that's technically snapping under the floor, but sitting on top of the floor. And that's exactly where I want it. That's perfect. So you do all your corners like that. And if you run into an issue where you can't do it on the right side of the behemoth gate, just do it on the left side of the behemoth gate. Do the exact same steps, but go left instead of right. Alright, now I'm going to do the right angle ones. So I count out 8, like normal. I get over to here. This is easier than ever before. What I'm going to do now is put open up a little hole for the fence foundation to go below. I put a fence foundation right here, right in the middle. And then I snap onto that perfectly straight. And it'll actually sit on the ocean platform itself, which is below the ceiling height. So when I put the ceilings back, it'll be covered up. So then I count 4 over. And this is normally where my tall walls will go. I should put a fence foundation right here and put the tall wall on top of that, but I forgot that step. But I do recommend putting the fence foundation down first, because then your behemoth gates will be the exact same height. But I forgot that step. But anyway, now I can cover it back up with ceilings. And that fence foundation snap point is underneath the ceilings, and it still lets me snap to it and have the behemoth gate sit on top. And there it is. That's the snap. And I'm going to put this one back here so we can see how they line up together. There it is. Flip it. And there it is. You got a nice clean corner, perfectly overlapped. And so that's it for that. So the rest of the steps for carrying the tall walls all the way up and putting the shelves and stuff like that, those are all the same. So refer to the original video for all of that. The other big difference on this version of it is that the top floor won't fit anymore. I've just realized that during my experimentation. So what I've done is I've started to change it around here. I'm over near where the industrial forge goes. I've taken out that support pillar, and I'm putting down the industrial forge here. You'll see some of the incomplete version of the build in a second here, where some of the walls, they go up, but there's nothing above them. Apparently you can't place any higher. So what I do is I get this in here, and I see what else I can do. Yeah, we don't need this anymore. There's no point for having these little pieces. They don't go anywhere. And I've taken out the corner pillar, because it's not going to have anything to support anymore. On my final version that I use on official, I have a replicator sitting out here. I like to put it next to the industrial forge. It's still close enough to where the storage is that I can use the storage. The structure's so big I can't really put it under any roof anyway. Well, I mean, I could put it in the hangar somewhere, but I still like it up here near the storage, near the workshops. So I usually put it right here. Right up against the industrial forge. So yeah, here's what we're at. We got this gap. We can't put the whole awning in anymore. So what you can do instead is you can just put a piece of ceiling right across this span here. And just follow this diagonal edge right across, and it doesn't overlap with the industrial forge. It comes to a stop right there on the corner. Looks pretty decent. It's not as nice as the decorative top floor that I usually have, but you know, given the limitations, this still works out pretty well. The top floor is mostly decorative. It was mostly just, you know, to have bedrooms and to have, you know, some immersive elements. And since it won't fit, though, you know, you can easily make do without. So I'm taking off these extra pillar heights. And you can't put vaulted glass over this greenhouse anymore. And also, since I'm not going to have, you know, a floor up here, I'm just going to replace this with stone. That one did not actually overlap. Well, it didn't replace, it's just overlapping, so I better take the bottom one out. There. Apparently there's two snaps that are super close. Alright, so we don't need these stairs either. So yeah, just a few changes. It still makes most of the design work out just fine on an ocean platform. It's kind of a bummer that some of these decorative elements that really kind of set the build, you know, make it look really nice. It's too bad you can't have them on the ocean platform. But it still works out pretty well. I like the whole ocean platform concept. It really lets people build, you know, just about anywhere, and it's pretty permissive. I mean, it's pretty generous with what they let you put on it, apparently, because I mean, this is a decent sized build. You could also put more than one down and, you know, make a wider base, but I don't really need a wider base. I just wanted a slightly taller base, but yeah, it's not an option. So anyway, now I'm just going to put railing around the whole edge, and it's pretty straightforward. But yeah, that's pretty much the only differences. The structural differences down below and this top floor difference. You gotta cut off some of the decorative elements, and you actually can make a cleaner support system on the bottom. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you know, people are enjoying this build, enjoying these tutorials. If anybody actually does go and build the base on official somewhere, or you've made some like interesting improvements or additions or changes or put your own flair on it, feel free to, you know, take some screenshots and let me know. Share them on Reddit or share them in the comments. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. And I've got some extra footage I'm going to play here at the end where I just get some angles and show off the build and some good lighting. But yeah, everybody have a good one. See you next time.